Relative velocity. Relative velocity. Suppose A bar and B bar are two vectors. Then A bar minus B bar is the relative velocity of A bar with respect to B bar, and B bar minus A bar is the relative velocity of B bar with respect to A bar. Let us take an example to understand this. Let us consider two vehicles, say two cars A and B. A is ahead of B and both are traveling in the same direction. A is traveling with velocity 30 meters per second and B is traveling with a velocity 25 meters per second. The speed of A is 30 meters per second and the speed of B is 25 meters per second. Both of them are traveling along the same line in the same direction. When the driver of B observes A without looking at the surroundings, he notices that A is traveling with a velocity 5 meters per second. 5 meters per second in the forward direction. Here in this case it is to the right. The driver of B notices that A is moving to the right with a velocity 5 meters per second. Because 30 minus 25 is 5. It is the relative velocity of A with respect to B. Now, when a passenger in A looks back and observes B alone but not the surroundings, he will feel as though B is moving backwards with a velocity 5 meters per second. So B appears to be moving to the left with a velocity 5 meters per second. Mathematically, it is written as the relative velocity of B with respect to A is equal to velocity of B minus velocity of A, that is 25 meters per second minus 30 meters per second, which is equal to minus 5 meters per second. Plus 5 indicates to the right, minus 5 indicates to the left. So like this we have to understand when the vehicles are traveling along the same direction. The relative velocity will be represented by the vectors like the as shown in the figure. The relative velocity, representation of relative velocity by vectors. Representation of relative velocity by vectors. Let us take two vectors A bar and B bar. A with respect to B means A bar minus B bar. So construct the A bar vector and minus B bar vector from the head of A bar. Then we will be left with a small vector from left to right, that is A bar minus B bar. This is the relative vector of A bar and B bar. Suppose if you want B bar minus A bar, the relative velocity of B with respect to A, that is B bar minus A bar. First construct the vector B bar. From the head of B bar, construct minus A bar vector. Minus A bar vector. Then we will be left with a small vector to the left, which is B bar minus A bar. Which is B bar minus A bar. So whenever you want a relative velocity or relative vector, first take the vector and subtract the other vector with respect to which the relative vector is required.